Here we have the new 2025 Nissan Altima. This one comes in the S trim level in gun metallic. We have charcoal cloth interior. For the powertrain, we get a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine made into the Xtronic CVT. So not a lot of big changes as opposed to the 24 model year. As we come around the front end here, we do get our LED headlamps along with our LED daytime running lights. And still a nice front fascia for the Altima. It looks really good, even in this base model trim. As we come around to the wheels here, these are gonna be 16-inch steel, but they have really nice wheel covers on them. Over here to the door panel for the driver's side. Power mirrors, power door locks, rear window lock, and then we do have one touch up and down for the driver's side window. Just regular power windows on the other 3 doors. Bottle holder there. Decent amount of storage. Blind spot monitor, trunk release, gas cap release, hood release, and then we do get a foot pedal parking brake there. Manual tilt, telescoping steering wheel. And then here's our driver's seat. This is gonna be 6-way manual. I apologize for the wind in advance, but a big thanks to John Roberts Nissan here in Manchester, Tennessee for allowing me to review this Altima today. I'll leave a link below in the description. But if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, just click on that second link down below. It takes a minute to fill out your information. I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. Over here, not much going on in terms of charging for the back, with this one being the S, but there's the look at the front. Now with this seat up front adjusted for someone of my size being 6'3" with longer legs, I can actually sit behind myself pretty nicely. Kneecaps are just barely brushing the back of the seat, but not uncomfortable at all. Now the middle seat does fold down. You get bottle holders here. And this window sticker got a little sun damage on it, I'm assuming, but stickers for $28,750, and there are the fuel economy numbers there. Let's go ahead and make our way towards the back. Before I forget, child locks, lock and unlock there. There's the gas cap there. This will take regular just fine. And one of the reasons these are such good cars, just in terms of practicality, is you're getting 27 miles per gallon city, 39 highway. So if you're trying to be on a budget with this car, as you probably are in the S trim, you're able to save even more because you have that gas mileage there. Did I forget to open the trunk? I think I did. And I even like the badging here. That looks really premium. And there's a trunk space there. Decent amount, in my opinion. And then under here, there's your jack and whatnot. And there's your spare tire. So for those of you that like having that spare, it's one of the few cars that still has that as opposed to a tire inflator kit. But that's how you release the back seats. You can hang a few bags there. My allergies are already starting to act up even though I took a Claritin. There's just so much pollen out here. So excuse me if I sneeze after a while. There's your exhaust system. Then you can just grab this seat and that'll fold flat. You can run longer objects through to the front. Top tethers are covered there. And then your car seat anchors, take that cap off and they're right in there. That's actually pretty nifty. Our front passenger seat here. This is gonna be a manual 4-way, so we just adjust the seat back, forward and back, and the seat bottom forward and back. Glove compartment. As we come back around to the front end, we're just gonna take a quick look in the engine bay. And there's that 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat next. So we have a hard plastic kind of vinyl wrap steering wheel here. There's the horn. Over here to the infotainment system. We do get AM, FM, XM along with Bluetooth. We have USB inputs as well, and then an aux input, which is nice. This is one of the few vehicles I've seen that has an aux still. But we can go through all of our sources here pretty easily. Settings are here, so you can adjust your connections for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. And then if you go over here to your others, you can adjust the units of measurement, keyboard type, and then the language there. Brightness of the screen can be adjusted, volume, click there to turn the audio off. And then have a tune or scroll knob here depending on what you're doing. So I mean, a pretty easy system to use, nothing crazy going on. There's your backup camera there, and we do get guidelines that follow as you turn the steering wheel. Hazards are right there. And down here we get our single zone manual climate control. So we can adjust fan speed here, fan direction down here, defrost, temperature, then the AC toggle there. 12 volt down here, then the USB-C, USB-A, and then that aux input. Now for the shifter, just grab this lever, reverse neutral drive, then you have your low there. And you can pull it all the way back up for park. Bottle holders. Center console cubby space, actually a pretty decent size. There's a look at the back seat from up here. There are your lights, sunglasses holder, vanity mirror. And then back to the steering wheel itself and the stalks behind. Blinkers are there. High beams, flash. And then we have our intermittent wipers, one time off, intermittent low, high. We can adjust that intermittent frequency there. And then you can adjust the brightness of the gauge cluster here. And then you can toggle that trip meter at the bottom. The volume is here. Now these arrows in this OK button are to go through your settings here. So you can change your meter settings and vehicle settings here. Your tire pressure monitors. You can change all of that. And then your units and whatnot as well. So that's in the settings themselves. And then when I scroll through here, I can see the tire pressure monitors, the driving aids, fuel economy, all of that. Track list, radio station presets can be adjusted there. There's the back button. And then over here, have our cruise control, voice recognition, Bluetooth, and then we can adjust our speed for the cruise there. Only other thing I want to touch on is this driver assistance. You can go in here and you can decide if you want that driver attention to be on or off, as well as the parking aids, so the rear sensors and the cross traffic alert, which I always like to keep those on, but I like that you can adjust the volume and all of that there too. Push button start, key fob with remote start. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2025 Nissan Altima S out on the road for a quick test drive. So starting the test drive in this Altima here, one thing I can say about the Xtronic CVT, and I've said this before, is it gives this car a much more powerful feeling as opposed to just looking at it on paper. You see a CVT and a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, and you're probably not thinking this car is as quick as it is, but it's relatively, I don't want to say it's necessarily quick, but it compares pretty well when you think about the Camry, the Accord, just because you don't have to worry about those typical shift points. And it's just the Xtronic CVT, as much as people say that they have issues with them, it's a very powerful transmission setup there. It just makes it that much easier to get up and going. Now, ride quality so far is pretty good. I mean, you have 16-inch steel wheels here, so I'm not necessarily surprised. But like I said in the walk-around portion, one of the best things about this car is it has relatively good performance, but also it is very efficient. 27 miles per gallon city, 39 highway. And no battery, no hybrid system or anything like that. It's just naturally aspirated. Now you do get 2 drive modes here. You have the normal mode, and then if you hit this button on the front of the shifter here, if you can see that down there, that toggles your sport mode. So it literally gives you a sport mode feel. So the CVT kind of almost gave it a downshift feel there. It's revving hotter and all of that. And then you can just take it off and you have a more linear driving experience. It'll still get up and go if you floor it, but it won't be as ready to go as if you keep it in sport mode. Now obviously if you do that, you're not going to be seeing that 27 city 39 highway, but it does make for a more lively driving experience. I want to adjust the seat back just so y'all can see more of a wider view here. This isn't how I normally sit, but one thing I can say is for this to be a full-size car, the space in here is pretty good. I'm able to move my legs about freely. Everything is kind of out of the way, so I'm not gonna, only thing that's in my way honestly is the shifter, which is where I want it to be. But everything else, I don't feel like I'm gonna accidentally hit a button if I rest my hand or something like that. That is a bit too far back. Now, the only thing with a manual seat is it is a bit difficult to find that perfect position, but it's doable. And honestly, road noise is decent even on this rougher industrial road. And the only rattle is my plate not being all the way in right there in the windshield. But other than that, I mean, it's very quiet in here, very comfortable. And that's saying a lot with this standard seat here. But visibility is good, and I like how the hood is sloped. I literally can't see it from the position I'm in. The only thing that's kind of in my view is where the dash comes up just a tad for where the gauge cluster is, but then the steering wheel is kind of lined up with that as well at the tallest setting. So again, for a car under $30,000, it's basic, but it has all of the necessities, and it is very practical. But we're gonna take it on the interstate here in a minute. I'm gonna put it in the sport mode, get ready. It looks like I'll have some space to give it a good pull. I'm not gonna floor it, but I am gonna give it a little something. Here we go. So what I like about the CVTs are, the Xtronic CVTs in particular, once you get up higher in the RPMs, it just feels like it starts pulling. Like getting up to 40 is decent, but then from like 55 to 75 it just feels crazy. It feels like the needle doesn't slow down as it starts to speed up, which is very impressive. Now I want to give one more thanks to John Roberts Nissan for allowing me to review this Altima today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click on that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But overall, for this money, you could get a Camry, but I do think that the Altima has always had its looks. It's always had this powertrain, and the Xtronic CVT, as much as people don't like those, it pairs well with this car. And if you keep the maintenance up, usually you're not going to see the transmission go out on you like some people do when they don't keep the fluid changed and keep up with that maintenance. But for a road trip car, really comfortable ride. I would probably upgrade to an SR personally, just so I can have a lot of the missing options, have the heated seats, option for a sunroof, the adaptive cruise, and then the lane centering. And I'd pay another $5,000–6,000 to get that. But if you're just wanting to be as cheap as possible, you want to save as much money as possible, this is a good way to go, because you do get everything that you would need, what you expect, having Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, air conditioning, cruise control. Now you don't have some of the newer things, again, like the adaptive cruise or the wireless Apple CarPlay and all of that, but if you don't need it and you're not gonna miss it, save that money. Some people don't even like that stuff anyway, so why get it? But all in all, still a solid car. I wish Nissan would drop an Altima EV, just because I think that'd be pretty cool, especially with the performance and all that. But we'll see if that ever comes about. With all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2025 Nissan Altima S.